Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I'm just bringing a lot of my employees out there.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't want to stay the whole time, then they can get roll.
Reporter of the Public Works. Roll call.
Yep, Carroll, Reddish. Here. Manning, Cosgrove. Here. Williamson,
Here.
Cooey, McGuire.
Here.
You have 4 of your 7 present.
Have quorum. Meeting's been properly notified.
Meeting is properly noticed.
We have a 13-point agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
1 and 2.
Who's the first?
Steve.
Steve and Cosgrove?
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it is approved. Number 5, approval of the minutes from the April 11th meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes. If there's any questions or no concerns, we'll declare them adopted. Anybody here for public comment? Look like it? Am I doing all right, Dan? Reports. Item number 7, reports, property management and AD&C, Josh. No, that's right, your property.
Okay,
You're out of order.
so I just got a few things that are going on right now. Still waiting on a date for the coil replacement in our, up in the penthouse. There, again, the units are in, just waiting for a time to get those in here in the next few weeks. I'm gonna be doing a bearing replacement out to the campus in one of our air handlers. We were out doing the assessment with Venture last week, and we found one that's rattling pretty bad, so I'm gonna go out here next week and try to get that taken care of. We're collecting electronics for Saturday's recycling. The Saturday out to the, well, not fairgrounds, but highway
Highway
department.
shop, it'll be an event from 8 AM to 11 AM held right there at Highway. Everything was notified via web-based and also newspaper advertising for the
Been on
event.
WRCO.
Yes.
I normally hear it every year. This year, whatever reason, I must not have been listening to the radio as much.
So we've cleaned out courthouse. I've been out to Pine Valley, picked up some stuff out there out of their garages. Cleaned out Health and Human Services today, so we hauled 3 truckloads so far out there today, and that's all taken care of. We also are cleaning, like I said, cleaning out Pine Valley's garages up there. I called L&M. L&M brought out a 40-yard dumpster, so we'll be cleaning all the metals and stuff out of their shop or their garages up there, get that place cleaned up. It's kind of a mess right now. You can't even get into the garages. So between that, and then we have a dumpster coming June 5th through the 13th for regular stuff, then we'll haul truckloads of that stuff back here to the dumpster to get the rest of it cleaned out. So a lot of stuff to be cleaned up and rearranged out there.
There's just stuff, I mean,
There's a
the
lot.
place is new. Did they take a lot of the stuff from the old building
A
and
lot of
bury it?
it's storage and just junk that when they got done, they just toss it in the door and close the door. So, plus the varmints are getting in there, raccoons, woodchucks, everything else, and making a mess, tearing things up, eating wires. A lot of mice and stuff, so we're gonna have to fix some windows and some holes in the walls and whatever. And
Brand new HVAC.
So-
unit.
HVAC units
I
out
remember we
there.
talked about that at the, yeah.
So there's a brand new HVAC unit that's been sitting on the ground for 7 years. A rooftop unit that had been purchased for the new building. And they couldn't put it on because somebody had put a dent in one of the panels.
Yeah, Candace was telling us about that.
So they didn't put it on, so now it's sitting on the ground up there on 4x4s. I'm gonna try to get Ash Creek or somebody to come out, take a look at it, see if there's something we can salvage. Or if it's something that can be used down the road, I don't know.
If it's the same rooftop unit as the ones that are on the
It's
unit.
the same
compressor
one that's
should
on.
be- The compressor should be reusable and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to find that out, so we get something out of it anyway.
Contactors, I mean, nothing else, keep it around, they can rob parts off them.
Well, and it's all sealed, it's a sealed unit, sits outside normally anyway, it just hasn't been operational, so I don't know what happens inside when they sit like that with moisture and stuff, so.
It'll be all right.
So anyway, we'll get that taken care of. Other than that, everything's going pretty good at all the buildings, just a lot of cleaning, spring cleaning and stuff like that. Questions?
I had one. That air handler out the, campus, you just got it shut off right now?
There's a lot of stuff shut off out there.
But I mean, the one with the bad bearing?
No, it was
Still-
actually, it's loud, but it's not like wobbling or anything like that. You can hear it clicking. So I want to get it taken care of right away, so
Which building is that, Randy?
that would be in the Copper Top Theater mechanical room up there.
Okay.
Administrative report, we don't have, go down to you, Josh, or
That-
are you B and C?
Yeah, I'm B and C.
Okay.
All right, so with change in restructure here, we have several different, well, quite a few different departments to report on, so we'll start with highway. County side of highway, we've disassembled the fleet from winter readiness. We've been washing all the bridge decks off. It's kind of a standard procedure we do every spring. We actually just take water trucks and just wash off the bridges with water, try to get rid of some of that salt residue. Wrapped up seeding and mulching on County Road W, from the end of last season, the rest of the dirt work we did, and we finished work on the Pine River Bike Trail. For now, we plan on going back and keep addressing it, keep bringing it back up to snuff later on. With the following month of May, we're gonna do a continued replacement of 4 culverts on County Road BB, I, and ZZ along with County Road UU for future seal coating scheduled for later this summer, along with, the road repair of BB, which will be a pulverize and relay. So you can expect some closures to pop up now and then for just a daily closure for culvert replacement. This does include the reestablishment of ditches, tree removal, and encroaching on the right of way, and also this road sign upgrading. Projected to start the radio tower road at Westport location at the beginning of June, and then we'll be moving on to the Viola site from there. On the state side, same thing, washing the bridges. We also broke down all their plow trucks. We've just applied the growth inhibitor to all the state right of ways, and it's usually the first 15 to 20 feet. It's a process we did last year. And then general maintenance. Expected in May, we're gonna be pulling in shoulders on all the state highways, continue washing some bridges, and we're gonna start in on routed seals, which will cover all the state highways. Administratively, a highway, continuing efforts on security with gate upgrades, door locks. We also have initiated our own building assessment to assist with our dating facility and grounds. We believe this will help with future planning on prioritizing repairs and maintenance. We were not included in the Venture Architects scheme of things, so we decided to do our own because our building had, since it was put up over 20 years ago, no other work has been done to it. So we're trying to get a starting point, and we're going to take bites at that every year to keep upgrading our facility.
That was one of the first things I talked to Josh about. I'm like, I know this thing hasn't anything done to it.
So that was a conversation I had initiated with SEH. You guys have heard me talk about them many times before. We hold a master agreement with them. So they came out this past Wednesday, took pictures of our whole facility to start that process. And then we're also going to be initiating a road assessment. By road assessment, it's going to be looking at all of our roads in general, all of our safety features, and then paint and signs and so on and so forth, and becoming coming together with a plan of attack for all that stuff, identifying the big problems and taking bites of those in years to come. That is highway. Moving on to parks, basically name of the game there is mowing, cleaning, and establishing routine. It's a brand new thing to us to get into. So a lot of it's just figuring out how this is going to work. It's a lot administratively with billing out, covering for his man hours, fuel, so on and so forth, but we're working as we go, but we are gaining ground and maintaining all those facilities. We have solicited bids from the local vendors and awarded to Tesnick Power Sports for the purchase of UTV. It'll be a brand new Honda Pioneer, 1000cc 6-seater for the purchase price of $29,082.51. We're expecting final delivery next week. This will be used for the trail maintenance and possible use of the sheriff's department upon occasion for any special events they have. They reached out to us and said, hey, if we're getting one, can we use it for certain occasions? Of course, we'll do so. The big area that'll be used at is the trails up behind the campus, and then also Ash Creek Community Forest. There's a lot of trails out there, so side by side is kind of needed. Moving on from that, we also start looking at replacement of restroom facilities at Viola and Rockridge, Pier Park, because the existing facilities are rot and obsolete. So we'll be looking at probably a porta john system going out there, rip down of the old facilities, concrete slab to ADA accessible porta johns per facility, and see how that turns out. I'll get prices and then we'll figure out the tear down procedure as we kind of move along here over the next month. We also took a look at some of the park efficiencies that we ran into. We've identified like the actual campsites at Rock Ridge. So there's supposed to be 10 sites by the DNR, but apparently it's been a free for all. As long as you can find space, you can camp there. So in time, we're going to look at trying to improve the efficiency there of actually identifying 10 actual campsites, have them properly labeled, and we've started a calendar system so we can track when people are coming and going from there and who's there. And then we'll also look at the idea of reservations. I've had a lot of phone calls this spring wanting to reserve the grounds, and come to find out there's never been a reservation. It's a first come, first served basis, and it's also pretty much free of charge unless you're camping there. I think there's money to be made on that aspect, and I think reservations would be good because a lot of people want to hold events at that kind of natural place. And then we're still working through the testing of all the water. I filed everything with the DNR, got everything changed over. Next week, Monday, we'll be taking water samples from Rock Ridge and also the fairgrounds. And then later this month, around the 15th, we'll be taking water samples from Viola so we can get that water turned on. That is parks in a nutshell. Recycling, I started the year with getting my feet wet into it. I learned a lot from Vernon County's recycling person, and I started and completed the annual report that was due in March. And then spring cleanup is scheduled this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Here at Highway. As I previously stated, all the pre-planning's been completed. We've had all the dumpsters, the equipment, everything dropped off that we needed from the outside vendors, and this also included advertising. So we should see a pretty smooth flow this Saturday, we're hoping. We'll see how that goes for our first time doing it just strictly with highway staff. We do have another hazardous waste cleanup. I see there's a grant in place for that. We'll probably plan on doing that later summer or beginning of fall. And then obviously I'll be following up with, doing the reimbursements through the grants and administrative paperwork. Snowmobile Alliance, I did complete the annual maintenance grant that was turned in. It looks good. It was accepted by the DNR. And we were able to get that ahead of schedule. We had a lingering grant from 2021 for stream bank repair at 2 different locations, which were identified as the mobile site and the Schreiber site. We advertised for bids. We awarded to One List Construction. We did find that since it's been a couple of years, the prices were off. I'm currently working with the DNR to adjust the figures on the grant, hoping to do that internally without a big thing from the DNR. And then we can draft a resolution and make it official at county board in a month or so to follow. And then we'll have additional grants due coming up at the end of June for reimbursement, so on and so forth. Fair, for those of you who don't know, we did order or hire a fair coordinator and admin assistant. Her name is Lyrica Marks. If you would like a business card, I do have a few available from her. Her updates with the fair. Entertainment, she said she's working on booking. The tractor pull will be Friday. The pedal pull is sending a contract, and Nick's Barnyard is on a contract. Judges, poultry needs a judge. All the judges are booked and contracts are good. Vendor contracts are due by May 31st, but all have verbally confirmed. Sponsors, letters have been sent. Sponsorships have been received. Current total is $2,460, but we are still receiving. Meetings, that meeting has been set to discuss animal information. Carrie Candace and Lyrica attended the animal meat sales committee last week, which apparently went good. A lot of questions got answered from what I was told. Other retailers license applications, she's been working on that. And she's looking at, instead of doing like a local beer tent, county funded and staff, they're looking at maybe contracting with a local bar to handle a beer garden, let them keep whatever tips just to have them there. And for sponsored volunteers and other contact Lyrica. That's what I have for you, Mr. Chair.
Question, what's the plan on if we, July 1st, get the campus on mowing that? Is that gonna fall under your purview also?
It will fall under that. So right now, I've asked Candace to look into the possibility of the campus leaving their mowers behind. If the mowers are not left behind, we will have to look at purchasing another large unit to take care of that.
The reason I asked, I talked to Everett Newberry, who mowed it for 25 years. And he said with 2 6-foot mowers to mow everything, they don't mow as much anymore, but what they used to mow, with 2 6-foot mowers, it would take a day and a half. That's 2 guys. So it's a big commitment is what I'm saying.
So I met with Candace about this subject, and I said, you're gonna have to hire somebody to come in a summertime help, even if it's a high school kid and all they're gonna do is mowing. I figured for the campus to do like a building walkthrough per week, to check on everything, you're gonna have 4 to 5 hours in there. That does buy you a little time for a quick repair if you find it. Then for mowing, for one guy alone, I had her estimate at least 20 hours, one guy to mow that property. So
Well,
I
that's
do
a
have.
day and a half, yeah.
I do have a couple people that are, know this is coming down the turnpike. We're supposed to get some like seasonal help applications in. I'll wait and see when they actually arrive. So when it does fall underneath our purview to kind of take care of, we have things ready to go in place. So the big thing, we determine if there's enough equipment, if there's gonna be equipment, if there's not, we will buy equipment and get it done as fast as we possibly can. Then we'll spin around and find somebody that we can station out of there that's just gonna spend their time mowing and maintaining the grounds at the campus until something more permanent can be established.
What do you have for mowing right now for the parks and stuff?
I have one employee right now, his name is Brian Thielman, but he is tied up with just parks alone.
And how big of equipment? What size deck?
So that would be the one piece of equipment he's using is a Ferris with a 72-inch deck, I believe, and then the backup mower is a John Deere 420, I believe. And it's a large one, but that's only got a 60-some inch deck on it.
Big tractor.
It's tractor.
So to do the parks and the campus, it would be one guy, full-time job.
Correct. That's what we were figuring.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Elder? Welcome, Mr. Carroll. Got Steve on here.
Yeah.
We're down to number 8. Mr. Wendell, if you wanna go ahead.
So we've received a request from Charter Communications, Spectrum, whatever their actual company is, for an easement, a utility easement under the Pine River Trail. I've reviewed the proposed easement agreement. There's nothing spectacularly objectionable to it. It would simply require board approval. But I was not sure where this request originated or if anyone in the board or the committee had the chance to look over the easement, if there were any questions or concerns that needed to be addressed before we respond further with them.
So is that something we need to make a motion on tonight, or is it gonna come up in the form of resolution?
It would be a motion and vote on approving the recommendation of forwarding the proposed charter easement agreement to the county board.
Somebody like to make a motion to,
Williamson will move to approve the easement as presented.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of accepting the easement as recommended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead and forward that on.
Okay.
Number 9.
So this one, to Mr. Caro's point, I also had today's meeting in my calendar, and then I looked a couple other places and somehow I thought it was not today. So I don't have the resolution and petition prepared, but I am prepared to give background on the issue. I kind of touched on this briefly at the last meeting, but obviously the composition of the committee has changed since then. There are 2 parcels of property that were, we can only assume, intended for highway use. They came to the county's possession in the 1800s by tax deed, and the county has not made any use of them whatsoever. They're located in the town of Orion. The gentleman who owns the property that adjoins our 2 parcels has asked if there was any way that we could transfer ownership of those parcels to him. He retained an attorney who did a title search and found a lot of the documentation that supports this. Additionally, she sent for my review statutory provisions found in 66-1003 and 1005, which simplify the process immensely. Essentially, if the county is willing to petition the town to discontinue these parcels as highways, then if the town approves that petition, the property will automatically revert to the adjoining landowner. Meaning we won't need to take any further action beyond the petition, and then I'll need to appear at the hearing at the town level, but I don't anticipate anyone objecting to it. So that would be the simplest way to fulfill the landowner's request. I just need approval to take that on. Again, I apologize for not having the action items ready tonight, but it also is not something urgent, so I could certainly bring those back to a later meeting.
Are those currently like unplatted streets or something? Or platted streets that aren't used?
Yeah, they're. I don't think I can-
If I could, Mr. Wendell, I remember looking at these on the map, this is a while ago, but they're not even near a road. They're actually in the middle of a field and a fence line.
240.
So it would serve, yeah. it
But
would
it's
probably-
66 feet.
Yeah.
On the bottom of 40.
Yeah.
Bottom or top of one or the other.
Right.
Top of one, or
They serve absolutely zero purpose to highway or anything.
it's up off the ridge. Comes off Highway 60, but then it's up on top of that big farm up there. But it's,
We would, if
In the
we
middle of
wanted
the-
to make them a highway, I would actually need to undertake enough to seize the property to connect them to something else. And we've had like 100 years to do this, and I don't think anybody's tried. So I did not anticipate there being a lot of objection to this transfer or negotiation, but that's not my purview either.
So somebody want to make a motion to have corporate counsel forward a resolution? Or
Mike, does that have to go to the board, or are you just gonna go to the town board meeting and it'll be done?
My preference, because it is ultimately a transfer of county-owned property, I would prefer it get full board approval. I will have the resolution and petition ready for the board's review well in advance of their meeting.
second by Williamson to draft a resolution to make this go away, the right-of-way parcels. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's accepted to draft that resolution, please. Josh?
We missed, Part C monthly paid bills.
The what?
Monthly paid bills.
Oh, yeah.
So typically, in meetings past, because there was second week and, of the month, second Thursday, that gave us time to process our bills to have all the most current ones in front of you. So from here on out, since we're in the first week of the month, you'll be looking at the previous month, 2 months ago bills. But the reason why I put these on here is to let you guys see and open book record basically, so you can see what our finances kind of look like per month with what we have going out and what potentially we have coming in. So what you're looking at is what you've already looked at last month, and I understand there's some people looking at it for the first time. So it just basically lists out all of our monthly paid bills, and then we usually touch on like the big ones and explanations for it, but the bills at the end of the day do get paid. So typically on an average month, we're somewhere between 300,000 to 400,000. We've had months less than that, but that's a pretty good typical range. And then keep in mind, when we get into the heavy part of construction season, which is always that middle part of summer toward the end of summer, we're gonna start seeing bills rack up over $1 million sometimes, but you do make a lot of that back theoretically in revenues. So every month I'll still have something to present to you guys so you can at least see what we have coming and going from highway.
It's nutrient ag, is that for the chemical you're using?
Correct. Yeah, the growth inhibitor and scalar.
Okay. Any questions on that? If not, we'll go back to, Michael, number 10. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're not gonna set the future dates, are you?
Not,
Problem?
nope.
Does anybody have a problem with this date and time? Keeping in mind that we're trying to align it with the county board?
Yeah. It really,
And that's for the last full session, ain't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then we will, without any discussion, we'll continue the same, Derek.
I don't have any problem with the time, but I do have, well, once a year I'll have a conflict with fire and ball game. So
I've seen you come to meetings before in your attire, so.
Mr. Chair, I think the only reason this was on there for each of these additional standing committees is the new set of county board rules say that the first meeting after the organizational meeting, you all pick a time. So if we're gonna leave it the same, that's great.
Leave it the same.
do you want, Derek, do you need that at the moment?
No, so it's.
I'm good with it.
Any correspondence? Anybody bring any letters to read? Any future agenda items? Something comes up, Josh, you can get a hold of me and stay in contact.
Yep.
Gary Manning's not here.
Chair, maybe I will take a motion to keep the time the same in the event. So can I get a motion to keep the date and time as the first Thursday at 4 o'clock? Chad, second by.
Second by McGuire. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's accepted or adopted. Well, Gary Manning's not here. If there's nothing else to come before us, we're up to number 13.
Move to adjourn.
Dan? I know it hasn't been a half hour yet, but
I noticed that. I do have a question here. I'm not sure what to do with this. This is that lighting situation. Does that belong in this committee or?
drop some out.
Oh, yeah.
What is it, Dan?
Oh, it's that, let me get it out here so I can, this,
Yeah,
it's called us protective nights. It's International Dark Sky Association where these cities and of all sizes are going to a lighting system that no longer just pushes light up in the air. It keeps it down. It makes our streets safer. But we had it on the agenda. I'm not sure which committee it was even on, but it didn't go anywhere. So I'm just wondering.
Is it an energy saver or something, or what?
It's energy saving and it's also,
Basically light pollution.
That's-
Mr. Wendell, if I may, any comments?
Yeah, so the Dark Skies
And we
Initiative
discussed-
is to reduce light pollution. It's the certain facilitation of like street lights with covers on them and LED lights and everything. If I recall, it was before land and zoning. I think Supervisor Luck had some contact with an advocate for it. I don't recall anything actionable ever coming from those discussions, though.
I remember hearing about it on the night. But if they don't feel satisfied, is that what you think, Dan?
they don't do what?
They don't feel satisfied with the answers we gave them, or?
Well, I don't know if it's monetarily speaking, if it's not advantageous for us to do this, or it's just too expensive or what, but I do know this much, I'll throw this out there, when they get done with the new bridge across the river, at Lone Rock, the entire village of Lone Rock is gonna get, as part of the bridge project, the state of Wisconsin promoted this, not the village. And they're gonna get all new lighting on Main Street. And these lights are designed to not only light the main street up, but they're designed to go back into the side streets also. And they light up your town a lot better without wasting energy. So, just so the gentleman dropped this off, he's a retired teacher down there, and he's a big fan of this. And we had a guy, was a representative for the company that actually sells all this, that came to one of our meetings, and he gave a talk about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very behind it. So I don't know which committee would take this over.
So Supervisor Caro is in the chat. Apparently his camera and mic are not working. He indicates that the zoning department is aware of the initiative. There are pamphlets available, and he expresses some frustration with his technical difficulties, but assures us that he can explain it if those are resolved.
All right,
Well, if we want to do it as a future agenda item, and somebody to do a little research on it or something, or,
yeah, zoning already has it.
okay,
Carol's the chair of the zoning.
we'll leave it at that then. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
We got a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Cosgrove. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Pre-planning party, look at the size of those.
Sorry.